So dear Dhamma friends, keep relax your body and comfortable yourself and let your whole body weight go down and relax your breathing and relax your mind and focus your mind to this bell sound and follow the sound please. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. So dear Dhamma friends, before we start meditation, I will give some guidelines that may help for you while you're sitting. So especially when it comes to meditation, our main purpose is not look for comfort or any kind of relaxation. So our main purpose is finding the wisdom. So when you are in this wisdom path, so it's important that the awareness you gain, that whatever the moment you achieve as a tranquility state, you have to hold it to it. You have to protect it. So it's kind of like how these monkeys hold their babies and how the birds protect their babies. And most of animals, when they have babies, they not allow anyone to come closer. So like that, when you get into tranquility state, you have to hold it to that state. You should not allow it to let go. When other thoughts come, when other disturbances come, you have to protect the moment you achieve. So that is important. And at the same time, while you practicing, this all in the tranquility state, because in the Vipassana level, it is completely different. This all we can do in tranquility state of the mind. So in tranquility state, other thing is, remember when you're sitting, it says sometimes, be like a tree. Be like a tree means you kind of like be like a piece of wood. It's like you don't get disturbed out of it, or you don't going to react to anything. See that when the winds come, the tree not going to go with it, behind it. The tree not going to follow the wind. The wind come and bend the tree here and there and maybe break the branch, and then the winds go, but the tree going to be in the same place. And so like that, so whatever the things happen, and try to develop the solid posture yourself. That is very nice. Solid posture means, because the posture is not meditation, but the posture is kind of like a way that you are disciplined with your practice. That is the important thing. So from there, And today when we beginning, we're going to observe the posture, that as you know, the posture means not the sensation, what I mean, the structure of the body, the frame. Just observe the frame, head to toes, and just be with it a little bit. And so the sensation arise on that posture, but what I'm telling, the structure of the body, just observe it very carefully and hold it to it. So then see itself yourself, and don't take it as you, this is me, I am sitting here like this. No, don't personalize. Just observe few minutes, head to toes yourself, let everything to settle down itself, and then that it settle down. See how, without your intention, what kind of that things happening in that body. So then you will see that following the inhalation, exhalation, your entire body moving up and down like a balloon. Just observe it a little bit. And then you come to the in front of your nose and your upper lip area, then you go with it. So the important thing, remember yourself, our main purpose is not focusing to any kind of physical feelings or sensation or mental feelings, not like that. Our main purpose is sharpening our own awareness with the intention. So without intention, without knowing, sometimes things happen. Suddenly you feel kind of like different feelings arise. But if you don't know what it is, don't go with it. Just keep focusing to inhalation, exhalation, and bring the attention. Sometimes when your attention become loose, then many kind of the thoughts can arise. Another thing is, when you practice meditation, your entire this physical, this bodily chemical system going to nerve system react in a different way. So and sometimes because of the posture, because of your effort inside your mind, you can feel many things, but that is not that much important for us. Our main purpose is seeing the inhalation, exhalation, and settling down with that. And bringing the mind to the one point and stay with that without going here and there. And having a very, very solid tranquility mind. That is what we're trying to get. So from there, that we go to the vipassana level of meditation. So in the vipassana level, you drop all the details. But when you drop all the details, remember 100% you have to bring your attention. You cannot do with the half mind. So bring the attention to the feelings arise, followed by the inhalation, exhalation. And stay with it and see how it changes moment by moment, moment by moment. So if you cannot get it that, go back to the tranquility meditation and follow the inhalation, exhalation. It is okay to take some time, and it is okay to back up. And it is not you have to go this way like that. No. Just I'm giving these details just to know yourself a little bit. But once you start to practice meditation, you have to go with the moment that you have. So in the very first level, try to recognize the feelings arise in here in front of your nose and your upper lip area, and follow it and see the change happening moment by moment. And mostly in that very moment, you no need to recognize it as an inhalation, because there is no such in the vipassana level, there is no such a thing called inhalation or exhalation. It is in conventional level. Because in which part we can tell this is inhalation, because there is no such a thing as an entity we can separate from something. just the experience in that very moment allow us to experience that. So you have to keep that clarity in your mind. And from there, we go to the feeling. And even when the deeper in the feelings, that when you observe that feeling itself change. So then you cannot get it as a separate entity. It's kind of like unchangeable entity. There's nothing like that. So that's why you go with the feelings moment by moment, moment by moment. Don't get into any solid experience. Don't get into any solid kind of moment. Just see how it's change and go with it. And the sensation and deeply, the deeper in your, the feeling is in the surface level, but in the deeper you feel it, your feelings, how rough your feelings, that is where the sensation arises. So according to the behavior of the feeling, sensation change. As example, in tranquility state, we know some inhalation become longer and shorter. And so as example, when you have the short, soft inhalation, the feelings different and the sensation going to be different. And then when you have the rough, heavy, longer inhalation, then according to that inhalation, the feelings arise and the sensation also going to become different. So in your mind, how you recognize this is as a short inhalation and this is as a soft inhalation. How you recognize? You recognize not by the feelings. You recognize it by the sensation. So like that, in the depth of the feelings, the sensation arises. And also, this is shorter, this is longer, this is inhalation, this is exhalation, like that. We name, by the name we recognize because of the mental formations, because of the thought, because of the past experience. So inhalation, exhalation, somebody somewhere gave this name to first. If somebody told this is kind of like a different, if you never heard this as an inhalation, exhalation, then we're going to use that name to recognize this. And as example, arising and falling, arising and falling. We never heard the word inhalation, exhalation. So if somebody never heard like a pranayama, yama, this they don't know about it, what it is. And maybe you can tell this is pranayama. And then that person going to recognize this as a pranayama. But we heard the pranayama is related to the inhalation. That's why when we focus to that. So like that, when your feelings arise, sensation arise, through that you recognizing this is inhalation, this is exhalation. So that come as a result of your past experience. So when this everything bind together, so it's a kind of like a complete mission happen. You recognize this is it like that. But without settling down, if you able to see how your recognition change itself moment by moment, because no one doing it. It is not your wish, it is not someone else's wish. It itself happening. So when you observe that moment by moment, you able to see the change within the moment. So when you see the change again and again, focus to that. Stay with it. And that will help you to slowly release the becoming nature, because there is no moment to settle down, there is no moment to hold the grasping, harboring your thoughts to the any feelings. So that is where you get out of the becoming nature. So let's practice a little bit. And your right palm on your left, and neck head straight in one line, and be comfortable with your posture. So bring your attention to your whole body and scan head to toes. And say Sopatveva, or may I be well and happy 3 times. Take a moment and think. We gathered here in this moment to practice this ancient meditation technique. All the Buddhas, all the enlightened masters followed this path and achieved wisdom. So we also gathered here to accumulate that knowledge in this moment with this sitting. May my body become more comfortable. May my breath be more smooth. May no difficulties come to me. May all the success come to me. Also think for a moment. This is the last moment we're spending in this very lifetime. And detach your mind from all your past memories and as well as any kind of future thoughts. Just try to remain in the present moment, observing the sensation of your inhalation, exhalation. So in the beginning, observe head to toes your whole body. Observe the structure. You don't need to put attention to any feelings or sensation. Just observe the structure of your body. See how the inhalation and exhalation happens and how your entire body follow that inhalation and exhalation. And slowly focus your attention to in front of your nose and your upper lip area. Deeply and gently breathe in, breathe out 3 times and find the sensation. And allow your inhalation, exhalation to happen itself and observe and recognize it separately. Follow the entire continuation of the inhalation and exhalation. See how some inhalation and exhalation become longer, shorter, heavy, soft, warm, cold. Don't interfere with it, just accept it and recognize. Keep your attention to the sensation or the feelings and drop all the details related to inhalation, exhalation. Just see how feelings arise and change itself. Bring your attention to your body. And observe your posture. We cultivate loving kindness and compassion in our heart and radiate it as a light through your compound, village, city, state, country, world, around this universe, and as far as you can through galaxies, other planets, stars, reminding yourself like this with clear intention. Mentally repeat after me. May all living beings in this universe be well and happy. May everyone be happy and safe, and may their hearts be filled with joy. May all living beings live in security and in peace. Beings who are frail or strong, tall or short, big or small, visible or not visible, near or far away, already born or yet to be born. May all of them dwell in perfect tranquility. Let no one do harm to anyone. Let no one put the life of anyone in danger. Let no one out of anger or ill will wish anyone any harm. Expand the loving kindness and compassion beginning from your heart forward to your backside, to your left side, and to your right side. Downward and upward to all six directions at once, like the moon, the sun. Spread the light, spread the energy without any condition, without any limitation, without any resistance, or without any judgment. Let your heart to shine with the loving kindness and compassion from the bottom of your heart with the maximum effort to the highest. Wishing yourself, may all living beings in this universe be well and happy. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So, dear Dhamma friends, if you look yourself why you practice meditation, and sometimes you find many reasons, but in the depth of this all, the main reason is the suffering. Because of the suffering, this everything happened in the world. So we practice meditation also because of the suffering. We look for enlightenment also because of the suffering. And Buddha came to this world and show us the path to enlightenment because of the suffering. So the suffering is kind of like a vaccine for COVID-19. So look everywhere, all over the countries, many universities, health organizations, everybody try to find the vaccine for this virus. So before the Buddha also the same thing. Everybody knew this suffering and everybody looked for solution for this. And as a result, so somehow, somewhere, one person going to find a vaccine for this. So like that time, because for this suffering, the Buddha is the one who found out the solution. And it worked for everybody. It is not only for one person. The same like if anybody find a vaccine, it is just not only for one country. It's going to work for everybody, like insulin, like malaria. So the same thing. Now in these situations teach us we all are kind of the same. So during Buddha's time, the same thing happened with the suffering. Everybody looked for a solution. And then Buddha came up with these teachings. So then this 2,600 years, it's like a vaccine for uh, the virus, the suffering of this virus. So, and then it worked for everybody. So for you also the same. So that's why you also practice this meditation. And when it comes to this meditation, and what we try to practice. So practicing meditation, in this meditation, what we try to help us, it helps us to see in the very first level, we have to see things very clearly as it is. Without adding anything from us, we have to see things as it is. If we cannot see things as it is, so whatever our perception or whatever our experience going to be wrong. As a result of we having wrong experience, our reactions going to become different. So that is one thing, the emotions arise. So as example, if the person see things as it is very clearly in raw level, the truth as it is without adding anything, if the person able to experience, there is no way emotions going to arise. So emotions arise as a result, we don't see the truth. So this is nothing wrong with this, because this everything is a part of the part of the journey. So another thing is, if you become wise, if you make your emotions intelligence, that is the best tool that you can use for the look for the enlightenment. Because if you don't have emotions, you're not going to suffer. If you don't have emotions, you're not going to look for that, get out of it. So emotions help us to get out of this. But the emotions arise as a result of that we don't see the truth. See how this all interconnected? That's why it says kind of like this, that 1 pound of hatred give 1 pound of love. It's not 1.5 or minor. No, exactly the same. So 1 pound of ignorance giving 1 pound of wisdom. They're exactly the same. So the emotions kind of like mud. So you need the mud to bring the lotus. So without mud, you cannot. So same like the Buddha, if there are no suffering, the suffering come as a result of emotions. So if there is no emotions, so the emotions come as a result of that we don't see the truth. We don't see things as it is in the first level. But in the Vipassana level, you have that seeing things as it is not enough. You have to go into the how things come to be as they are to understand the cause and effect and cause and change. But in the first level, to see things raw level, in origin form, you have to come to the point to see how things come to be as they are. So that is what the Samatha meditation does. Samatha help us to experience things as it is. So in the Samatha level, you don't have emotions. You get out of the emotions. Once you get out of the emotions, in that very level, that your mind become free from the fear. Because if you have the emotions, when you are suffering, when you have the emotions, you always go back, you have the fear. So even for a shorter time period, you come out of the suffering doesn't mean you attain to Nibbana. So in day-to-day life, look, sometimes you feel good, you feel good. The 24/7, no one feels sad or worried. Once a while you feel sad. But mostly, sometimes we feel good. But the thing is, you go back to that sadness or the worry or unhappiness sometimes. There's no power that you can hold. So like that, tranquility state is not enough. Even you see things clearly, that's not enough for you to get out of the samsara. Still this happening. But the thing is, once you see how things as it is, without adding anything and without missing anything, neglecting anything, losing anything, you exactly experience something. In that experience, no emotions. When you come out of the emotions, the clarity become more stronger. With that clarity, you have to observe how things come to be as they are. So that's why it not happen itself. Intensely you have to do it. That's why even you attain to the tranquility state or the samadhi, You cannot attain to enlightenment, because in that samadhi you have intensely, you have to start to that analyze your own experience. But mostly what happening when you come to the samadhi, you think this is it, I am done, this is good for me. So then they stuck with the samadhi. But what the Buddha is saying, so once you come out, once you attain to the samadhi, you have to analyze from there, and then you recognize that how how things come to be as they are. That is where you see the so the samsara is kind of like this these emotions create certain things, especially mainly these emotions. So now you know, when the perception not clear, or if you cannot experience in the raw level, in organic level, as a result of that, emotions arise. So that is the one reason for the suffering. All emotions end up with suffering. So in that, once the emotions arise, so as a result of that, fear also going to be with that. So the fear is feeding to emotions. So once the fear happen, what is happening? More you get disturbed, and you cannot more again and again. You whatever you experience, it's going to go wrong. Why? Because of the fear disturbed to your experience. Then again and again you go in the wrong path. So then the emotions that lead us to suffering, and the fear help us to again and again and again hold it to it. But tranquility state or the samadhi level, what we does, we come to a point to experience things as it is. So emotions level, there are three things happening, and it ignite. It help to three things. One is ignorance. So the ignorance is kind of like things that that is the very first reason come with the emotions. The ignorance means you don't see the things very clearly itself. You don't see in details. You take it as a whole. You don't take it as a part. So as example, this pen, when you have the emotions, what it does, that emotions directly go and hold this as the whole one thing. And then because of this, what is happening, we think, oh, there is a pen, this is exit, there is a pen. So but we don't see how in details how this pen happen like this way. As example, ink, iron, and there may be plastic. So like that, there are a lot of things included to this. But when we come to the pen, we don't see that anything. So when the emotions become high, you cannot see it very clearly like that way. But in the very first level, if you see this is as a parts, and then that whole part came together, then when that one part missing, if the pen doesn't function properly, you're not going to worry about it. But when your emotions high, you think it as a one pen, one entity, and then as a result of that, what is happening, it leads you to something else. So even though anything the same, fruits. So when you take an apple, you don't see the environment, you don't see the nature, you don't see the tree, you don't see the farmer, so you don't see the weather or the fertilizer. You don't see that anything. But when you take the apple and when you have a bite, if it doesn't bring you the good or the right taste for you, what is happening to you? You don't think about, oh, this is because of the weather, this hot weather, oh, this because of maybe that took long time to come here, or maybe it is not the right time to grow. So you don't think that. But when it come to an apple, that everything included inside. So that is why when it come to ignorance, that is what happened. Even in day-to-day life, when it come to the life, very existence. And we celebrate a birthday. And when somebody born, that we want to get that it as an entity, that there is a person like this. And so then we celebrate the birthday, and we keep going with that person and putting and giving a certificate. Oh, you are born like this. This is your certificate. This is your mother, father. So like that, everything that put it to this is the date, this is the time, that everything, it's parts. But when it come to birthday, that sometimes people don't think about that anybody. They enjoy themselves mostly. Sometimes when like young people, when they want to have a birthday, so they sometimes they plan to go somewhere, but they don't think. Before they born, they came to this world as the sacrifice of their parents. See, they don't forget, they don't think about it. What are the parts that we exist like this? So when the emotions high, you don't see the truth. You cannot see the parts. And the doctors, whoever work in the hospital, or maybe in a village, there are all the mothers help for when the babies come. And so sometimes, if you are according to your age, how many times that you make mistake in life, and how many times people help you to correct that moment. And maybe your husband, wife, and suffering behind you, somehow, manage to stay with you. And when you have birthday, oh, I want something, I am having birthday, but you don't see, you get as a one entity, I exist like this, but you don't see the parts. So that is what the emotions does. You don't see how I exist, and how much you breathe. You go and buy take a birthday cake, and maybe how much the birthday cake look, and then you arrange a party. And nowadays, you cannot do that much, but people do it still. And maybe at least, few $100 you spend. So have you ever thought about, for your birthday, oh, I am breathing so much from this nature. For my birthday, I want to plant a tree. Have you thought about it like that way? Why? Because I am taking something, and it is my part. From the very first day when I born, I am breathing. That's what giving me life. So can you give something back to nature? But people don't think like that way. So see, we like to see it as a whole one entity. We don't want to see as parts. That is what the emotions does. But when you're able to come to see things as it is, it helps you to see the parts of the life. That is where you recognizing your life happening because of other people, not because of you. And then when that moment comes, your birthday or your birth certificate, it doesn't matter. But people like to have, it's not even the people, even the product. See that it giving a, certificate. Even as the gems and the diamonds, gold, it has a certificate. Even the wristwatch. So they have a certificate. It's kind of like a birthday certificate, manufacture, product date, and the country, made in. So like that, this everything in giving. It's kind of like once you hold it to that, you hold, oh, this is it, this is this. You get into as one entity, but you don't see the parts. We put that all the details to prove there is something exists like this. Otherwise, we don't see it is a part of something. As example, we don't see that when you have a jewelry or wristwatch, you have the certificate for that, made in date, and maybe the manufacturer name, company, so like that. But when you're wearing it yourself, when you put that the jewelry yourself, you don't think about that the people who made it, or you don't appreciate them, even that the name is there. You use that all the details to prove this exists as one entity. You use that all the details to prove to others this is it. So that is a kind of, that's why the emotions create the ignorance. And emotions bring the karma. So the karma means the actions, reactions, result, pattern. So when the emotions high, it creates the ignorance. Once you recognize, oh, this is a pen. So like that emotions take you to recognize this as a one entity. And because of that, what is happening, it push you to buy this. I want this. Oh, I like this. So like that, it push you to karma, create karma. So maybe I like it, or maybe you don't like it. So then you try to push it away. That also karma. So like that, it always lead you to do something. That is what the karma. Another thing is, the third one, that emotions lead us to birth. That means that giving some effect to do something related with that. When the emotions high, that is what happening. It always leads us to do something. Maybe go towards it, or maybe push away from it. So like that, somehow it involving with to kind of like action. So those are the three things mainly that emotions lead us. So emotions come as a result of that, what we don't see the truth, or when we don't see things as it is. And as a result of that, the fear arise and the suffering arise. And as a result of that emotions, what is happening, it leads us to ignorance. And it leads us to karma. And it leads us to give the birth or the effect, or to make actions. So then again and again, this circle keep going. This circle keep going. This is what that the dependent origination. And this is what that again and again things related with something and keep going. So when it come to life, when you come to the tranquility state, what is happening? You start to go against this pattern. So it like this. So just imagine the sansara is kind of like a clockwise, you know. So ignorance, karma, birth. Ignorance, karma, birth. It going like this clockwise. And the practicing meditation or the vipassana, or when you have a understanding something about the nibbana, so what is happening? You start to go against that. You reverse the pattern. So this keep going clockwise, and you create a moment anti-clockwise. So this going clockwise, you go anti-clockwise. In a certain point, what is happening? Little by little, the clockwise, your sansara becoming slow down. Why? Because you create a current, go against it, anti-clockwise. And then what is happening? Emotions become slow, ignorance becomes slow, and then the karma becomes slow, the rebirth, the birth becomes slow. effect becomes slow. And then you go again and again and again towards backward. And then in a certain moment, you come to a point, you completely eliminate the, destroy the, the effort or the birth or the karma or the ignorance related with the ignorance. How? When you able to come to a point to see things very clearly in that very moment, no ignorance, no karma, no kind of like effect create that related with the action, reaction, result, and in that very moment, no emotions. It's come to a point kind of like completely you stop this keep going nature, the circle of the samsara. So in that very moment, once the mind come to that, that doesn't mean it's not going to go away. Why? Because we have previous habit, mental formations, roots. So even for a moment you settle down, that doesn't mean in the very next moment that you're going to see things very clearly. And maybe from inside disturb can happen, and then as a result of that, whatever the perception can see wrong. So then again, it's going to give power. Even in the samadhi, you can die, you know, and but that doesn't mean when you're born in another place, there's no baby born in the world with the samadhi. That's you know, all cry and born. That's how the world, you know. There's no, the baby monks come to world, that all the babies come, you know, naked. They no monks come. So even you become a monk, you die with the good samadhi, tranquility state. That doesn't mean your next birth going to be you are a monk. No, it's not going to happen. Why? Because the sanskar or the mental formations from your past lives, that whatever you accumulated, it is there. It's kind of roots. How you can destroy that? So that's why in the vipassana level, rather than settling down in the samadhi, you go deeper and recognizing how things come to be as they are. So in that very moment, you recognize it. So that's whatever the things, it kind of like this, the emptiness, giving emptiness and the existence, the both the same. That is where you see that the birth and the death both equal. This is no separation. The dark and the light, the both there. So you not come to a dualistic mind, and you're not going to separate things in that very moment. Only things you recognize the change in the moment. In that very moment, you're not going to get into a kind of like an entity, or you're not going to settle down with anything. And even the experience of the mind, also you recognizing part of this change. So otherwise in the tranquility state, that consciousness think that the I am having in samadhi, but in the vipassana level, that consciousness also not going to take as I am, and that also recognize itself, it is change itself. There are some African countries, you know, they are not Buddhist, but in that they have culture, they don't see things liquid, they're solid. As example, these things, you know, this anything, this pen or the wood or anything, even the human life, like Somalian countries, you know, they have culture, they see things kind of like a liquid. But we think solid, but there are some African countries. And even, you know, this everything, even though this exists like this way, when the earthquake kind of like things happen, this everything become liquid. Like when the tsunami come, you know, this everything become kind of liquid. So this liquid nature is always there. So when it come to this vipassana knowledge, vipassana understanding, the vipassana level of, even though you are is still conventional, that just as understanding, you recognizing this everything, that even though it has a shape, even though it has a form, even though it has a name, that is not kind of like something that you can take as one entity. It always come as a result of that, that depending from other parts. So once the mind able to get into that, you're not going to hold it to anything, and you're not going to that the clinging to anything. That is where you completely become free from this pattern. So that is what, through this journey, that you can little by little you can achieve. So it is a process, but at the same time you have to remember that separating things, going away from things, hating things, running away from things, this doesn't work. This doesn't work. This work, understanding, recognizing, go towards it, go into it. So otherwise not going away from it. So then always remember yourself that whatever the situation, it is a part of the world. So don't try to separate. Don't try to categorize yourself. It should be like this or it should be like this. No. Only thing is, whatever the situation, remember, there in deeper in that situation, there is a wisdom. So rather than struggling with the outside cause, and go into that and get the wisdom. And that is where little by little, you mastering your mind. And there is a day come you to fulfill that your mind with all the experience in this world, and you're going to transform your life to different level. And that moment is your liberation. So it is possible. It is a journey. We have to go with it. So your birthright is attaining to Nibbana, because it's kind of like we come with the disease that is suffering, and then the finding the truth and get out of the suffering is your purpose. So keep it that in your mind, and always, and whenever you have time, and little by little, try to go towards that. So with that, I bless upon everyone. With this good practice, may all of you be well, happy and peaceful. May no harm come to you, may no difficulties come to you, may no problems come to you. May you also have the patience, courage, understanding and determination to meet and overcome inevitable difficulties in your life. During this time period, may everyone stay healthy and safe. And finally, may all of you attain supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sabbityo vajjantu sabbarogo vinassatu mate bhavatvantarayo sukhi digayuko bhava. Ittavata cammihi sampadam punya sampadam sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Sabbe bhuta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Sabbe satta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Idamme punya kammang asavakkaya vaham hotu sabba dukkha panchatu. Bless you. So if anybody have any question,